The scarlet tanager is a medium-sized American songbird. Until recently placed in the tanager family, it and other members of its genus are now classified as belonging the cardinal family. The species' plumage and vocalizations are similar to other members of the cardinal family, although the Piranga species lacks the thick conical bill that many cardinals possess. Description: the scarlet tanager, a mid-sized passerine, is marginally the smallest of the four species of Piranga that breed north of the Mexican border. It can weigh from 23.5 to 38 grams, with an average of 25 grams during breeding and an average of 35 grams at the beginning of migration. Scarlet tanagers can range in length from 16 to 19 centimeters in length and from 25 to 30 centimeters in wingspan. Adults of both sexes have pale horn-colored, fairly stout and smooth-textured bills. Adult males are crimson-red with black wings and tail. The male's coloration is intense and deeply red, similar but deeper in shade than the males of two occasionally coexisting relatives, the northern cardinal and the summer tanager, both which lack black wings. Females are yellowish on the underparts and olive on top, with yellow olive-toned wings and tail. The adult male's winter plumage is similar to the females, but the wings and tail remain darker. Young males briefly show a more complex variegated plumage intermediate between adult males and females. The somewhat confusing specific epithet olivacea was based on a female or immature specimen rather than erythromelas, which authors attempted to ascribe to the species throughout the 19th century. Female immature and non-breeding males may be distinguished from the same ages and sexes in summer tanagers, which are more brownish overall, and western tanagers, which always have bold white bars and more yellowish undersides than scarlet tanagers. The song of the scarlet tanager sounds somewhat like a hoarser version of the American robins and is only slightly dissimilar from the songs of the summer and western tanagers. The call of the scarlet tanager is an immediately distinctive chip-chirp, which is very different from the pit-I-tuck of the summer tanager and the soft, rolled pre-tick of western tanager. Behavior: the breeding habitat is large stretches of deciduous forest, especially with oaks, across eastern North America. They can occur, with varying degrees of success, in young successional woodlands and occasionally in extensive plantings of shade trees in suburban areas, parks, and cemeteries. For a viable breeding population, at least 10 to 12 hectares of forest are required. In winter, scarlet tanagers occur in the montane forest of the Andean foothills. Scarlet tanagers migrate to northwestern South America, passing through Central America around April and again around October. They begin arriving in the breeding grounds in numbers by about May and already start to move south again in midsummer. By early October they are all on the way south. The bird is an extremely rare vagrant to Western Europe. Scarlet tanagers are often out of sight, foraging high in trees, sometimes flying out to catch insects in flight and then returning to the same general perch in a hunting style known as sallying. Sometimes, however, they will also capture the prey on the forest floor. They eat mainly insects, and will opportunistically consume fruit when plentiful. Any flying variety of insect will readily be taken when common, such as bees, wasps, hornets, ants, and sawflies, moths and butterflies, beetles, flies, cicadas, leafhoppers, spittlebugs, tree hoppers, plant lice, and scale insects, termites, grasshoppers and locusts, dragonflies, and Dobson flies. Scarlet tanagers also take snails, earthworms and spiders, while summer tanagers are famous for this feeding method when capturing bees, wasps and hornets. Scarlet tanagers also rake the prey against a branch in order to remove their stingers before consumption. Plant components of their diet consists of a wide variety of fruits that eaten mainly when insects are at population lows, including blackberries, raspberries, huckleberries, juneberries and serviceberries, mulberries, strawberries, and chokeberries. Breeding male scarlet tanagers reach the breeding ground from mid-May to early June. Females generally arrive several days to a week later. Nest building and egg-laying both occur usually in less than 2 weeks after the adult's arrivals. The clutch is usually 4 eggs, occasionally from 3 to 5 and exceptionally from 1 to 6 eggs may be laid. The eggs are a light blue color, often with a slight greenish or whitish tinge. Incubation lasts for 11 to 14 days. Hatching and fledging are both reached at different points in summer depending on how far north the tanagers have breeding. From June to early July in the southern parts of its breeding range to as late as August or even early September in the northernmost part of its range. The average weight at hatching is 3.97 grams, with the nestlings increasing the weight to 20 to 22 grams by 10 days, or 70% of the parent's weight. The young leave the nest by 9 to 12 days of age and fly capably by the time they are a couple weeks old. If the nesting attempt is disturbed, apparently scarlet tanagers are unable to attempt a second brood as several other passerines can. In a study of 16 nests in Michigan, 50% of nests were successful in producing 1 or more fledglings. In western New York, fledgling success increased from 22% in scattered patches of woods to as much as 64% in extensive, undisturbed hardwood forest. Threats and status. Exposure and starvation can occasionally kill scarlet tanagers, especially when exceptionally cold or wet weather hits eastern North America. They often die from collisions with man-made objects including TV and radio towers, buildings and cars. Beyond failure due to brown-headed cowbirds, predation is the primary direct cause of nesting failures. In one study, 69 to 78% of nests were predated. Recorded nest predators are primarily avian like blue jays, common grackles and American crows, although others like squirrels, chipmunks, raccoons and snakes probably take a heavy toll, as well as an occasional unlucky fledgling as to cats. Raptorial birds hunt and kill many scarlet tanagers from fledgling throughout their adult lives, including all 3 North American accipitrus species: merlins, eastern screech owls, barred owls, long-eared owls and short-eared owls. These birds do best in the forest interior, where they are less exposed to predators and brood parasitism by the brown-headed cowbird. The cowbird lays its eggs in most any other passerine's nest, and the young often outcompete the young of the host bird and may cause failure and starvation. Some birds have evolved strategies to deal with cowbird parasitism, but the scarlet tanager, being a bird that evolved to breed in forest interior and not previously exposed to this, are helpless victims to brood parasitism. Where forest fragmentation occurs, which is quite widespread, the scarlet tanager suffers high rates of predation and brood parasitism in small forest plots and are often absent completely from plots less than a minimum size. The nests are typically built on horizontal tree branches. Specifically, the numbers are declining in some areas due to habitat fragmentation, but on a global scale tanagers are a plentiful species. Thus, the IUCN classifies the scarlet tanager as being of least concern.